Emerged as the best person for the job. We had a very rigorous selection criteria and a rigorous interview process. And she fits the bill because if you look at her experience, she's an engineer by profession. She's been in telecoms and the telecoms industry for a very long time. She understands various aspects of the business, regulatory. She's been in marketing, operations. She runs Telkom South Africa. So she really is very much the best person for the job.
Everybody knows that Telkom is facing huge challenges at the moment, and there's some who might have thought that fresh leadership with new ideas would have been the way to go. What was the rationale behind going for someone who is already within the company?
It's a safe pair of hands. We know her track record, and she understands the business. That's the most important thing. And there's good continuity, so there's no knee-jerk change in strategy. But if you look at it, we had an open process. We looked openly outside, even internationally. And then we said, out of the candidates who responded, we had 35 of them. Of the 35, we narrowed it down to 6. She emerged absolutely as the leader. And I believe that she's the best person for the job. So it was not like we were looking for an internal process only. We looked outside, and she's the best that we found. We looked outside and inside, and she's the best that we found.
Jeffrey Hedberg is acting chief, and he's agreed to stay on till the end of June, I understand, when the results will be released. Now, he's been kind of cited, or he was initially cited as the turnaround specialist. He had worked at Deutsche Telekom rather. He helped with Cell C, came on to help turn around your Nigerian unit. What was the rationale then behind, him moving on from the company if he was initially cited as someone who specializes in turning around?
Look, it was his decision to move on. He came in to turn around the business, the multi-links business in Nigeria. He's done a tremendous amount of good work for Telkom there. And then, of course, when there was a gap at the top, he was then asked to come in as acting CEO. He himself decided that he wanted to move on. And that was long before we started the process. With that in mind, then we started the process to say, let us find the best CEO that we can find out there, and it's Pinky. But Jeffrey himself, I really want to pay tribute to him. He's done a phenomenally great work. And where Pinky is taking off now, we can see that there's going to be good continuity. I'm also happy that he's staying on until after the results. I asked him to stay so that there's a good, smooth handover.
Government's golden share lapsed in the beginning of March. Are they looking to renew this golden share? Is there possibility to be able to do this? And what is government's role in Telkom going forward now that it has lapsed?
Well, that's a very good question for the Department of Communications in terms of what their thoughts are going forward. But from a Telkom point of view, we at the moment are very clear that government is a significant shareholder. If you look at the appointment of the CEO, for instance, it was a board appointment. The whole processes, everything was done and approved by the board. But the articles prescribe that the board needs to appoint in consultation with a significant shareholder, any significant shareholder. And given the way the percentages of shareholding work at the moment, government is a significant shareholder. So then we had to have the engagement. But it is the board that appoints. It is the board that made the appointment.
At the end of last year, Hedberg said he expects a reduction in employee expenses with cuts in the second half of 2011. Now, I understand that you're in talks with unions about voluntary severance packages. What has been the response to this from workers, and by how much do you need to cut your workforce in order to maintain the cost base?
Well, let me just say the voluntary service packages has been, the response has been quite overwhelming. It's a lot more than what we had expected, that people have decided to take on these packages. We will announce the number. This is what the CEO would have to tell you, because I'm chairman of the board. I don't want to take her job. We've just appointed a new CEO. We said now she will interrogate. But I can tell you that it is a very positive response that we're seeing, that what Jeff had promised indeed would happen. But we're now moving more into executive area that I would rather not. I know the answer, but I believe you should not get it from me.
You've been the chairman for around a month now. Let's look at the overall focus for Telkom going forward. You've had this loss-making unit in Nigeria. You've just launched the new mobile network, ATA, with a lot of marketing spend around that. is some concern that Telkom has meandered a bit in the telecommunications and ICT space. What exactly is your focus and strategy?
Well, the focus and strategy is to really just grow the business, broadband, to grow the enterprise market. We have a phenomenal infrastructure. Many of our competitors still have to build the infrastructure. Telkom has got a world-class infrastructure. You've seen, for instance, with the 2010 World Cup, the level of excellence that we provided. So we've got a fantastic base on which to build. And then, of course, we need to make sure that we grow ATA. The side rollouts can and should happen a lot faster. The distribution networks, it's a new business that we're entering into that we need to maintain. Of course, we need to consolidate our position in the rest of Africa. It's very, very important. And Multilinks has been losing a lot of money. The board has taken a decision to exit the CDMA business. So we're in the process of actualizing that. And of course, an important thing is the human capital, looking at our human capital to say, what is the best? How can we harness the best of what we have? Because we've got 23,000 people, some of the top telecom specialists, we have them in our company. How do we bring the best out of them?
But at the same time, you're going to be having to let people go in order to manage your costs. So it's that delicate balance between not, that skills drain.
Yes, there is a delicate balance, but also opportunities for cross-training. As you start now with the mobile business, there should be opportunities for some people to be trained to move on to the mobile side. So we are very sensitive in terms of ensuring that people's jobs are preserved to the extent possible. We have to drive efficiencies, we've got to increase shareholder value, and I believe we're on course.
The government has this goal of job creation, and at the same time it's majority shareholder in Telkom. This is obviously a predicament that you face. How do you manage that, and what role is government going to have? What say are they going to have in terms of the job cuts?
Look, I think there are models in the world that we can emulate, maybe emulate and then innovate around them, where there's been a very good coexistence between government and incumbent telcos, to say what is it that the telco should do from a commercial point of view. And government has got certain social objectives that they want to pursue. And then how do we then end up with a regime that makes for a win-win, that is value accretive to all the shareholders of Telkom on one hand, where one can show and demonstrate that the relationship with government brings the following benefits to Telkom as a company and to all Telkom shareholders. And of course, in return, Telkom is then doing the following things that are more of a social nature. So that is a conversation that I'm looking forward to have with government.